Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to News Hour Live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. We are also live on Facebook. Do like and share for more news updates. My name is Micheline Taka. You're welcome. Prices of vegetables have seen astronomical increases due to the political tussle in Niger, with bags of vegetable prices ranging between 1,500 to 1,600 Ghana cedis. Industry players fear the prices could push to 3,000 to 4,000 Ghana cedis if the situation is not swiftly handled. Onion traders who find themselves stranded at the Benin border for an extended period are appealing to the President Akufo-Addo to intervene for the prompt release of approximately 70 trucks carrying onions from Niger to Ghana via Benin. Traders say without swift action from the president, there's a significant risk of the onions perishing, leading to a potential surge in onion prices. Traders say in previous instances of restrictions, particularly in Burkina Faso, border officials granted exemption to some commodities, especially onions, and urged ECOWAS to engage in current leaders of Niger so that some commodities could be allowed to move into and out of the country. Soldiers in Niger, one of Ghana's major suppliers of onion, announced a coup on July 27. They dissolved the constitution, suspended all institutions, and closed the nation's borders. Besides Niger, about 20% of Ghana's onions were imported from Nigeria, 5% from Burkina Faso, and about 5% locally produced. The border restrictions in West Africa bring to the fore calls for local onion producers to step up production to fill the potential gap. The executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Dr. Charles Nyaba, says it is disappointing that countries like Niger grow and harvest onions in huge quantities for Ghana to import. Dr. Nyaba joins us via the telephone lines. Hello, good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, Doc, how serious is the onion situation in Niger, especially with regards to Ghana?
Yeah, so we stand, Ghana has a total production of 144 metric tons. And our consumption is over 1 million metric tons. So it means the rest of the importation that we are making is coming from our neighboring countries. And Niger is one of the countries that we actually import larger quantities from. Now, my worry is that, it will be safer for our neighboring countries who are seeing Ghana as the hub of everything, including agricultural productivity, to be crying because there are crises in Niger. I say this because we have all the resources that is needed for us to produce enough onions for our own consumption and even for export. Because we have the good fertile lands, we have the river bodies, we have the human resource. So why would we be crying because there is a conflict in Niger? And this is not the first time we are experiencing that. When there was Boko Haram issues in Burkina Faso in the last 3 months, you realize that there was shortage of tomatoes in our market. Prices shot up, which contributed to our 54% food inflation that we recorded in June. So I'm so worried that these things will continue to happen when we continue to brag that we are the hub in terms of our agricultural supply in the West African region. Now, why are we not taking the advantage of the opportunity to actually invest in? Yes, farmers are already doing that. When you travel along the White Water Basin, areas around Boko, Zebla, Polgo, all those areas, you go there and you see women lining up across the river doing their own thing. They are cultivating between a half acre, 1.5 acre, maximum 2 acres. It's not like the youth or the young men are not interested in onions production. Onions is very profitable. But the cost of producing 1 acre is not something that ordinary peasant farmers will be able to afford. To get the seed, the garmi, which is a high yield, one bottle is going for 250 Ghana cedis. For 1 acre, you need about 3 bottles to do that. Now, onions is a crop that needs close attention. We need regularly supply water. And most of these farmers have to buy water pumping machines to be pumping water on their farms. On many instances, farmers have to lose over between 25 to 50% of their onions after harvesting because there are no places to store them well. So these are areas that we expect our government to pay attention to. When planting for food and jobs was introduced in 2017, some vegetables were included, including onions. It's one of the crops that was targeted. From 2017 to today, government didn't invest a peso in onions for that. So these are the reasons why we are currently facing the crisis that we are facing.
So that said, currently there are about 70 trucks stranded somewhere. What is the way forward?
The way forward is for our president to quickly intervene. From the onset, I don't want to go into the politics in the Niger. From the onset, we do not support the actions that were proposed by ECOWAS for military intervention. Even though we may undermine the effect of any crisis in Niger in the South region, but it's that huge. So we will call on our president to intervene to ensure that those trucks are released immediately so that what our own transporters and traders invest in, they are able to get them on the market. In the very short run, what we need to do is to support our own peasant farmers to get the onion seeds and knowledge to be able to increase their production. There are many investors who want to invest in the agriculture sector. They don't even know where to go. And if you take from Upper East region, Upper West, Northern Northeast, Savannah, Guanahapo, Asante, Volta region, Oti, all these areas have potential for onions production. So we need to expand our productivity just beyond maize, rice, and soya beans to also look at the vegetables because onions is becoming a staple. So to me, I think that's what we need to do immediately.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nyaba. Dr. Charles Nyaba is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, and he says that he's advising the government to invest more and pay attention to peasant farmers as they have the capacity to produce onions to meet the demands of Ghana's markets. In Kwame Danso, residents in the Bono East are appealing to government to urgently turn attention to the deplorable roads linking to suburbs of the town. They are again appealing to the government for a market facelift. Our Bono East regional correspondent Samuel Ayama has more.
Kwame Danso is the capital of the Sene West district, and this is the typical situation on a rainy day. Stagnant water due to poor drainage systems. With the slightest rain, houses, particularly those in low-lying areas, flood very easily. Currently, almost all the roads linking the suburbs of the town are in a bad state. The residents are urgently appealing to government to fix the road surface and also give their market a facelift. Considered as one of the biggest markets in the region, on a rainy day, most parts of the market are virtually no-go, becoming muddy and messy. Nanawa and Mr. Bismagbuadu, both traders at the market, told the news team that all their efforts to draw attention of past and present governments to the situation have not yielded the needed results.
Sabre nsua boye free Kwame Ateb abedru Kwame Danso hweze adwansite ha nyina ya poto enkyese nipa ese omtena digwa adent na omutwa ticket omoye bibia na sande mo yekoso wasne district yesra ba ne se omomodin na omodo mato mansi na no ono mo nkasa yie
enam se dwanu munyenti obi a mpesa ode ne bayere beba dwam ha ena de ha yenkase paso ye yakwan free Kwame Danso ekwate bubu yakwan ne nyenti obi wo adibi kra de beba dwam a ontimi fa ma nti yesra ba se yesra no yesa de yesayem na dawro ma yeto aba che so yakwan nti upost obi kra so mra ma adwuma wo ha wo se wo ma yakwan nti.
A motorcycle rider and Madam Abenata also voiced their concerns about the situation.
Nti yebesra ban se Kwame Danso atebu kwan na de omwaye na ye market yi so no nduyane ne ade bode free frama ne ade eba ha bayire free lasi afi manko ne mantukwa nyina ba ha batumbom bɛyɛ dene saa mmere dongo no agyi wokɔ hɔ a ɔmaka hɔ ɔmontimi mma ɛkɔ nkwa fida wuro sɛ ɔha no nyinaa porɔ nti yɛsra ban sɛ ɔbɛboayɛ
enti yɛsra wɔ mo a nneɛma wɔ ha pa firi akɔ kurom baabi a ɛnam wɔ ha bayerɛ wɔ ha ha na yɛsɔ bibiara de kɔ nti yɛsra mo sɛ kwan no yɛsra mampani.
The news team gathered that the market is without adequate sanitation facilities. Traders at the market close early due to the poor lighting system at the market. About 90% of farmers in the area are also into yam cultivation. Samuel Ayama, GBC News, Kwame Danso.
The Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, with support from the Norwegian government, has trained local actors in the Volta region as part of efforts to combat gender-based violence in the country. Participants were educated with the requisite knowledge and skills to effectively respond to gender-based violence issues in their field of work. Participants at the workshop included key stakeholders in the fight against gender-based violence, such as the police, the media, faith-based organizations, traditional leaders, health professionals, representatives from the Departments of Gender and Social Welfare, among others. The Deputy Commandant at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Air Commodore George Akodadzi, said a research conducted by the Center's Women, Peace and Security Institute revealed that the spate of gender-based violence in the country was due to factors such as lack of local capacity in the fight against the menace. He was hopeful that the collective efforts and commitment of key stakeholders will help eliminate gender-based violence in the country.
We cannot underestimate the significance of our collective efforts in combating gender-based violence. The undermining of the fundamental principles of equality, justice, and human rights must be eradicated under our watch, and by building local capacity, we are of the hope that we will empower individuals and the community to actively participate in the prevention and response to gender-based violence.
The Volta Regional Director of the Department of Gender, Thaiwill Eirakpe, said the gender-based violence must be addressed at home as an effective measure to prevent it at the basic level. She said it is necessary to demystify gender-based violence to understand how stereotypes are driving data on the menace in the country to ensure that it is effectively addressed.
If you look at the Ghana Health Service DIMS data, there are more men reporting to the hospital for domestic violence than women. In 2022, their data shows that more men are reporting to the hospitals, not to the police. Why? Gender stereotypes. And so we need to demystify SGBV. We need to understand how gender stereotypes are driving even the data that we are gathering as a nation and be able to address it fully.
The acting Volta River Director of Health Services, Dr. Senanu Jokutu, said the service has been instrumental in the fight against gender-based violence through its advocacy and prevention strategies. The paramount chief of Peno traditional area, Togbe Kotoku, on behalf of the chiefs and people of Asogli in the whole municipality, pledged their support in the fight against the menace. The MP for Wa West and a member of the Defence and Interior Committee, Mr. Peter Tubu, says he is disappointed in the Bank of Ghana and the government for some failed strategies, including rising inflation. A member of the NPP's National Communication team, Alfred Thompson, attributed the rise in inflation to the current economic crunch happening across the world. They were on GBC's Current Affairs program, Focus, which discussed the minorities' demand on the Bank of Ghana.
Dr. Addison took over the Bank of Ghana and wanted to have hope in him. From my background as a law enforcement officer, I think the first point that I want to make, if you don't respect laws, I don't respect you.
Okay.
The Bank of Ghana Act itself says you cannot give government, you can't print money, you can't give government overdraft, you can't lend money to government more than 5% of total revenue of the previous year. It's law. And you know what Parliament does? For the love of the people, Parliament believes that, listen, things can happen, something can happen, a national disaster, some strange matters can come up, and we will need to lend or borrow money from the Bank of Ghana more than the stipulated 5%. So there is a clause in there in the law. In times of emergency, if you think that you need more than 5%,
which is the 6,
good. Please, Minister of Finance, go to Parliament. If you go to Parliament, you tell Parliament the reasons why you think that you need to push it forward. If Parliament is convinced that there are justifications for you to move it forward, we would endorse that. It's all about Ghana. But you know what happens? That level of disrespect for the institution of Parliament hurts. Now that I'm an MP, I sit and watch. If at that level as a governor, if at that level as the finance minister, you don't even respect the laws, how do you expect the armed robber to respect laws?
There's an economic crunch that we all know has happened. Whether we like it or not, we have the world economic crunch that has happened last year and this year, and the early part of this year. Countries are now picking up. Countries are now getting back to normal. These things happened when Bank of Ghana needed, or the government of Ghana, the cocoa bonds needed, the due payments came up. They are mandated things to be done. At that time, inflation was going up. Ghana government needed to buy bonds or open this thing for bonds to be bought. They realized that with the skyrocketing inflation, if they are to do the bonds now, they are going to be in what? Trouble. Because the amounts that will be paid will be skyrocketing. So what did they have to do? They had to sit down with Bank of Ghana. They sat down and they decided that, listen, we are going to take up these bonds and pay off those that are due. Those that can be renewed will be renewed. So that the losses will not be that great. Because if you are going to go into this and look at the inflation that is going at that time, it was above 50%. 54, yeah.
Yes. So if you are going to do bonds at that time, what does it mean? It means it's going to be way above the inflationary thing that is going on. So let us manage the situation in such a way that we don't devalue our currency to the extent that we become a useless, or the economy becomes so bad.
A revamped Volta Aluminium Company, VALCO, is a significant live wire to the development of Ghana's integrated aluminium industry and her industrialization drive. On a working visit to the smelter, a Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in charge of mines, Mr. George Mrekuduka, tasked the management and staff of VALCO to ensure the total transformation of the company to enable it to assume a strategic position in government's plan for the integrated aluminium industry, which hinges on value addition. Clara Mlano reports.
It is a commitment of the government to put a new energy back into the Volta Aluminium Company, VALCO, through investments to become viable internationally and change her fortunes. The intended plan is for the investment to increase VALCO's production capacity to about 300,000 metric tons, while widening the job markets for that value chain. The delegation from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is of the firm belief that the smelter is in a healthy state and currently on the path of becoming a profit-making company. They argue that investors will not be wrong putting some funds in VALCO, stressing that it is now an attractive package for the investing public. The chief executive of VALCO, Mr. Daniel Titus Glover, provided a thorough overview of the state of the company with the current management's vision of revamping and expanding operations to ensure full utilization of the lines. He did not shy away from the fact that VALCO has some challenges, but the current progress far outweighs the problems.
We apologize for the bad sound quality. We will bring that story again once we rectify it. The Upper East Regional Peace Council has engaged partners on violent extremism prevention at Paga in the Kasana Nankana West District.
The Prevention of Violent Extremism through Social Accountability POVETSA project has supported the establishment of formalized networks that regularly involve key community members, traditional leaders, youth groups and civilian security forces to collectively build trust and facilitate understanding of each other's respective roles in community security and the fight against violent extremist threats. The project conducts awareness creation and monitoring activities on security issues with a view to strengthen peace in their respective communities. An executive secretary of the Upper East Regional Peace Council, Mr. Ali Ananpieng, said there are lots of issues at the community levels that need to be addressed for them to be safe.
The community members express their frustrations and what they think the security services should be doing to support them build safe communities. Looking at the work of the security services and the community in preventing violent extremism, the key word is sharing vital information that will enable them resolve issues that emanate from that angle.
The head of operations of the Immigration Service in Paga, DSI Robert Ubindam, said the security service is committed to supporting communities in promoting peaceful coexistence.
Oftentimes, the misconceptions, the distrust, the allegations, those are the things that hinder a cohesion between the security and the civilian. So for me, the take home is that yes, the trust level has increased, the confidence has increased, and we have agreed to work together in order to prevent violent extremism and terrorism in Ghana.
Assembly member for Kajelo Traditional Area, Ms. Hilary Aniako, said when there are doubts, mistrust and bad relationship between the civilians and the security, the country would not be able to fight violent extremism. The POVETSA project was funded by the Netherlands Embassy and implemented by the Catholic Relief Services Ghana in partnership with the National Peace Council.
Pupils of Unity Junior High School at Kutubabi in Accra have been through a counseling session on their career paths as they navigate through the education system. Organized by the Rotary Club of Accra Airport, the seminar was aimed at providing valuable guidance and support in choosing suitable career paths.
The initiative is one of Rotary's vocational service through their profession and practices by sharing their knowledge to inspire others. The career counseling seminar featured a distinguished panel of experts from diverse professional backgrounds who lectured the pupils on how to choose the right career courses. The seminar also included interactive workshops allowing students to seek answers to their specific career-related queries. The Rotaract Club of Accra, La East, and Oyster Integration also provided the students with essential stationery items. The headmistress of the Unity Junior High School, Mrs. Abuajiwa Dafo, was grateful for the initiative. She acknowledged the club's commitment to the welfare and development of the pupils. Mrs. Sylvia Claire Sewa Fojo is the club president of the Rotary Club of Accra Airport City. She emphasized the Rotary Club's commitment to fostering education and supporting the youth in their career development.
Education is part of Rotary areas of focus, so we also took it upon ourselves. It's an annual thing, so we took it upon ourselves to come and encourage them, take them through the selection of schools, advise them so that they will make good choices.
The Rotary Club says it will extend the gesture to other schools, emphasizing the importance of career guidance and educational support for students. Such noble efforts highlight the club's dedication to building a brighter future for the younger generation.
The business news comes up shortly. Please do stay.
It is a nightmare dealing with the filth in Accra. The gutters are choked with garbage. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these bleachings, you can't even stand there for even a minute. As we speak here, if the mosquitoes even refuse to breed on it.
Partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing open defecation?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.
In every land and clime, there are motivators, leaders, bellwethers. They inspire and have attained eminence in their field. Courageously, they braved all odds to follow their dream and make a mark, all in an effort to protect our nation and make the world a better place. Every Monday at 8:15 p.m., GBC News shares intriguing stories of our legends when we give them the platform for the highs and lows and the Eureka moments of pride. Make a date this and every Monday for our icons on Legends of Our Time at 8:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. on GBC News, and a repeat on Sundays 6 p.m. GBC News and Thursday at 4 p.m. on GTV. Our legends, they light up our world and make us proud with their hard work.
Hello, Head of Basic Schools, proprietors and proprietresses. We have good news for you. Do you want to be part of the top-notch schools in Ghana? Want to exhibit your school's capabilities? Then this is the right place for you. At GLTV, we give your school an opportunity to present itself to the people. GLTV, the best in e-learning.
It is a nightmare dealing with the filth in Accra. The gutters are choked with garbage. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these bleachings, you can't even stand there for even a minute. As we speak here, if the mosquitoes even refuse to breed on it.
Partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing open defecation?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.
Hello, it's time for business with me, Esther Eidu Ohumewu. July 2023 recorded an inflation rate of 43.1%. This marks a 0.6 percentage increase on the June 2023 figure of 42.5%. Presenting the figures, the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna Enim, said inflation on imported items for July was 45.7% as compared to the June figure of 44.7%.
Consumer Price Index for the month of July 2023 stood at 191.0 index relative to 133.5 that was recorded for the same time period, that is July 2022. Comparing these two indices, that is 191.0 and 133.5, year-on-year inflation for the month of July 2023 stood at 43.1%. That is between the month of July 2022 and July 2023, prices of goods and services on the average went up by 43.1%. On a month-on-month basis, given the Consumer Price Index for July 2023 as 191.0 and June 2023 184.4, we did record a month-on-month inflation that is between June 2023 and July 2023 rate of 3.6%. This rate of 3.6% indicates a 0.4 percentage point increase relative to the rate that was recorded in June 2023, which stood at 3.2%. So we are beginning to see a reversal in the downward, in the slowdown of the month-on-month inflation that we saw in June 2023. From a trend perspective, we continue to see that in the last 4 months, that is 4 months in a row, we see year-on-year inflation inching up. In April 2023, year-on-year inflation was 41.2. It inched up by 1.0 percentage point to 42.2. In the month of May 2023, further went up by 0.3 percentage point between May and June 2023, and in July we see another increase of 0.6 percentage point for the year-on-year inflation, which currently stands at 43.1.
At a meeting with employers in Accra, SNIT says arrears of 132 million Ghana cedis owed by some employers have been retrieved through court action as of June 2023. This is against 212 million cedis in arrears in 2022. With regards to total number of cases filed in court, it has dropped from 7,616 in 2022 to 2,272 cases in 2023.
Described as a low-hanging fruit in the pension scheme space, SNIT in May 2023 took a giant step to reach out to the self-employed. Dubbed as the Self-Employed Enrollment Drive (SEED), it also covers workers in the informal sector to encourage them to contribute regularly on their full earnings for a guaranteed pension among other benefits. And at a meeting with employees in Accra, management of SNIT assured employers that onboarding the employees onto the pension scheme platform give pensioners superior value for their contributions, and benefits are paid in full till death. The Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkran, said though there has been an increase in retrieving contributions through prosecutions, but a good number of employers are honoring the obligations, which is yielding more contributions in billions of cedis to the pensions kitty.
One would think that when you are collecting more monies through prosecutions and stuff, it is good news because you are collecting money. You can look at it that way, but I like to look at it the other way. I like to look at it from the point of view that the majority of our contributions that we collect is not through prosecutions. It's because employers willingly do the right thing and remit the monies. We don't have to go and chase them to get those monies. So we collect billions of Ghana cedis of contributions without resorting to one summons or going to a law court. That is how I want our business to operate.
SNIT says some significant strides have been made after the merger of the SNIT and the Ghana card numbers. The development has improved the trust identification system, enhanced the onboarding of new members, and eliminated cost of printing new cards.
The merger of the Ghana card with the SNIT card is a good thing. First and foremost, it saves us the money that we use to print cards. We were spending about $7 a card. Now we don't have to spend that money to give our members a biometric card. So the Ghana card allows us to do that without that expense. Now the Ghana card also is going to help us to do something that we were not able to do before, and that is adjudicating who is a genuine, nominee. If somebody passed away and they had to give, we had to pay their survivors a benefit. Because we didn't have any biometrics of such people, we had to go through a long process to adjudicate. Today, if you give us the Ghana card numbers of your nominees, when the time comes for them to process their benefits, they just come, give us their Ghana card, and we'll be able to immediately authenticate them and pay their money.
Since 2018, there has been an uptake of contributors to the SNIT scheme, with the active members now at 1.9 million. Edward Nyakun, reporting for GBC News.
More corners to turn, Director of the Institute for Economic, Social and Statistical Research, responds to government's narrative of a gradual economic recovery. Professor Peter Korte is of the view that despite the moderate easing, a lot more needs to be done to get the economy back on track. We'll bring you that story later. And to some other business, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has lauded government, especially the Ministry of Works and Housing, for including traders as beneficiaries of the affordable housing scheme for the low and middle income earners in the country. Given the housing deficit Ghana faces, the traders have called their inclusion a golden opportunity to own houses. In a statement by the General Secretary, Alpha Abdullah, Guta appreciates the efforts of estate developers to help traders purchase houses and make the scheme a great success. And that's all for business. Thanks for watching.
It is a nightmare dealing with the filth in Accra. The gutters are choked with garbage. The streets are a jumble of filth. The beauty of the serene beaches is marred with human feces and plastics, as many defecate in the open. Residents are up in arms when the situation gets out of hand.
Because of these litters, you can't even stand there for even a minute. As we speak here, even mosquitoes even refuse to breathe on it.
Partners in sanitation suggest alternative policy interventions.
Landfilling is not the way forward. We are recommending treatment facilities.
But in all of this, have we made gains in the sector?
How can you have a people who have a lot of dignity and still practicing identification?
The task facing Ghana to achieve SDG Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation for all is Herculean and riddled with equally complicated hurdles. Join us every Thursday on Wash Hour from 4:05 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we seek to put these issues and more in perspective. Watch a repeat on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. and on Sundays 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It is our duty to keep our surroundings clean and free from disease.
You're welcome back. President Akufo-Addo has commiserated with the people of La Côte d'Ivoire on the passing of former President Konan Bedi, who died on Tuesday, August 1, 2023. He signed the book of condolence at the Ivorian Embassy in Accra and described late President Bedi as a great public servant of Cote d'Ivoire, a career politician born in 1934 to a family of cocoa planters. Late President Bedi was the chosen successor of Cote d'Ivoire's founding father Felix Houphouët-Boigny, who ruled the country from independence from France in 1960 until his death in 1993, aged 88.
The President Konan Bedie was part of the great group of ministers when he was Minister for Finance, who assisted the great leader, Houphouët-Boigny, to create the Cote d'Ivoire that all of us know, which in the 1960s and 70s experienced great economic development and indeed was the outstanding economy of West Africa at the time. President Konan Bedie, as Minister for Finance, had a very important role to play in that development. He has been a faithful servant of the Ivorian people and the Republic, and he was also a great friend of our country. He treasured very much his ancestral links to Ghana and never failed to remind me that he was also a Ghanaian. Was a man with whom I had very good relations, and I have to tell you how sorry I am when I heard the news of his departure. And that is what has brought me here today, to come and register in the name of the Ghanaian people and government our sincere condolences over the loss of this illustrious public servant of Cote d'Ivoire.
In news coming in from China, 33 people have been confirmed dead and 18 are still missing after Beijing's heaviest rains on record, officials said on Wednesday. China's capital has seen hits by record downpours in recent weeks, damaging infrastructure and deluging swaths of the city's suburbs and surrounding areas. Floods in China's southwestern Sichuan province also killed 7 people on Wednesday, state media reported. Authorities in the capital said on Wednesday, 33 had died in the recent bad weather in Beijing, mainly by flooding and buildings collapsing, almost 3 times the figure given by officials on Tuesday last week. The cause of the deluge of water was not immediately clear. Meteorological authorities in the nearby city of Onglai continued to issue a yellow warning for rain at 10:40 a.m. on Wednesday, anticipating possible participation of more than 50 millimeters over the next 6 hours in certain parts of the administrative districts. 41 migrants have died in a shipwreck off the Italian island of Lampedusa. Survivors told local media. A group of 4 people who survived the disaster told rescuers that they were on a boat that had set off from Sfax in Tunisia and sank on its way to Italy. The 4 survivors, originally from the Ivory Coast and Guinea, reached Lampedusa on Wednesday. More than 1,800 people have lost their lives so far this year in the crossing from North Africa to Europe. The survivors, 3 men and a woman, told rescuers that they were on a boat carrying 45 people, including 3 children. Iraq's official media regulator on Tuesday ordered all media and social media companies operating in the Arab state not to use the term homosexuality and instead to say sexual deviance, a government spokesperson said, and a document from the regulator shows. The Iraqi Communications and Media Communications CMC document said the use of the term gender was also banned. It prohibited all phone and internet companies licensed by it from using the term in any of their mobile applications. A government spokesperson said a penalty for violating the rule had not yet been set up, but could include a fine. Iraq does not explicitly criminalize gay sex, but loosely defined morality clauses in its penal code have been used to target members of the LGBTQI+ community. Time to talk sports. Legon City's FC earlier today unveiled Park Kwesi Fabin as head coach of the club ahead of the start of the 2022-2024 season.
The veteran Ghanaian gaffer has signed a 2-year deal with the Royals ahead of the 2023-2024 Ghana Premier League season. He replaces Maxwell Kunedu, who has joined in Swatroman FC as the head coach. Fabian joined Legon Cities after parting ways with the Diana Stars, having missed out on the Premier League title last season. Speaking during his unveiling, he revealed that he could not turn down the offer from the Accra-based club despite initially planning to stay away from the game and concentrate on owning an academy.
This is what the team has asked me to do, to bring a lot of young players so that we could also be a selling team, not really buying team. So that's the objective, and then to do well in the league, to place well, in a very comfortable position. My plan is to be able to develop a lot of young talents for the team. By the end of the season, 2 or 3 maybe can get contracts outside to bring some income to the team, to stabilize the team financially.
Fabian also assured that they will finish in a respectable position in the new season.
Any manager goes to a team and the aim is to improve upon the team. Like our brother asked the question that we played now twice. We want to improve upon the position that we had last season. So
Legon Cities will open their 2023-2024 Ghana Premier League campaign against Karela United at the Owak Sports Stadium. Park Kwesi Fabin is one of the few coaches in the country, having coached the likes of Asante Kotoko, Accra Hearts Hearts of Lions, and Inter Lights, among other premiership sides. He has also coached the Black Starlets, Black Satellite, and the Black Meteors.
Team Ghana at the 31st edition of the World University Sports Federation FISU Games in China are back home with a gold medal. The sterling performance saw Ghana's ranking leapfrogging from 100 plus to impressive 35 in the world and 3rd in Africa after South Africa and Uganda.
These are the 12 athletes that represented Ghana at the 2023 World University Sports Federation FISU Games in Chengdu, China. Team Ghana participated in athletics events, namely 100 meters men and women, 200 meters men and women, 400 meters men, long jump men and women, high jump women, and 4x100 meter men. Team Ghana put up a show. The likes of Barnabas Age, who qualified in the 100-meter event to the semi-finals. Mary Boache also qualified to the semi-finals in the women's 100 meters, as well as Lovina Ewusi and Mary Boache qualifying to the semi-finals of the 200-meter events. The icing on the cake was delivered by the determined, shy and reserved Rose Yaboa in the female high jump. She clinched the first ever gold medal for Ghana at the FISU Games since its inception more than 70 years ago. She shares her experience.
I'm much impressed to be one of the athletes going for that World Athletics Championship, because it's not anybody who has gotten this opportunity. So if I have gotten this opportunity, I have to use it well. So I'm very much impressed to be part of that team as well. I'm hoping I'll train very well and put up a best height, which will go further beyond the height I've put in this competition.
The president of GUSA, Mr. Ibrahim Tanko Shaibu, praised the athletes for making Ghana proud.
Yeah, it has uplifted the image of GUSA in particular, Ghana in general. It has lifted because we are now third in Africa as far as sports is concerned in the world. We are third behind South Africa and Uganda. We are third and then 35th in the world. Count the number of countries that are in the world, and you can imagine where we have placed Ghana now.
Some officials were happy at the feat chalked up.
VCG is the mother organization of GUSA and draws resources from there. So right now we say that VCG sponsors all GUSA activities. So it's important for us to also take part in the process so that we see where the challenges are and where we can improve upon their performance. It's been quite challenging because, as you heard from the president, if we had more resources, we would have sent a bigger contingent and taken part in a lot of the activities. It wasn't anything extraordinary. Our people are capable. If we took more people, we would have had more laurels. Even if we didn't get laurels, we'll get exposure so that we train them, because it's the same students who go on to the national and so on.
For the first time, we had two of our athletes, female, qualifying the 200 meters. The first time we had our female qualifying for the semi-finals in the 100 meters, Mary Boache. We had Lovina, and then we had Barnabas Age also qualifying for the semi-finals. This, for me, is exceptional because for a very long time, we haven't gotten there yet. And for us to get to this level, it means that something worked well.
The athletes say the exposure and the opportunity has motivated them to do more.
The men and women's level 100 and 400 tug of war teams are winners of the first UEW Tug of War Championship. The two teams were the strongest among the teams from level 100, 200, 300 and 400.
Tug of war is an ancient childhood game of strength and strategy. It may seem like a game where the strongest wins, but tug of war is more than a test of strength. Even before the game begins, participants have to flex their cognitive skills. It also teaches participants a good lesson in compromising and learning to work as a team. As part of their whole week celebrations, the Health, Physical Education, Recreation and Sports Students Association of the University of Education, Winneba, staged a tug of war competition. Under the supervision of the Ghana Tug of War Federation, students formed teams made up of 8 players each. 32 female athletes and 32 male athletes participated. They were team level 100, 200, 300 and 400. In the female category, team level 400 were the strongest, defeating the level 100 team to grab the gold medal in the final. In the men's division team, level 100 beat their seniors in level 400 for gold. Level 300 came third, with level 200 finishing fourth. Some coaches and athletes were happy at the opportunity given them.
We are feeling great. It's a great thing. Even though this is our first time of participating in something like this, we are excited and very happy. We came up beating competitors who are much more experienced than us, but at the end of the day, we did our very best. It was a strategy that I and my team we adopted, okay, and that worked for us.
We were training towards this, and I gave some pep talk to my ladies to come and perform, and really they didn't disappoint.
The president of the Ghana Tug of War Federation, Mr. Emmanuel Ola Williams, presented medals donated by the LOC chairman, Mr. Frank Minta Mensah, as well as certificates and souvenirs to the winners. Mr. Williams encouraged the teams to train hard in order to qualify for the World Tug of War Championship coming up in Germany next year.
Spanish giants Barcelona defeated English Premier League side Tottenham Hotspur by 4 goals to 2 in their trophy final as they concluded their pre-season schedule. Here are highlights of the game.
Hello, let's do some art and entertainment news. My name is Hagar Owusu. Africa's history is not literate. Therefore, recounting portions of Africa's history is through archaeology and its findings of relevant artifacts. A US-based Ghanaian archaeological professor, Rachel Engman, who is championing the Christiansborg's Archaeological Heritage Project, says this initiative is necessary since the country relies mostly on oral tradition, which could be distorted.
It is community-based and started in 2014 under Professor Rachel Engman. It has collected over 1,800 artifacts in the Osu Castle to educate the public on occurrences during the Danish Gold Coast slave trade period. The professor and the team, in the course of her findings inside the Osu Castle, discovered some artifacts that were buried. The team of artists working with Professor Engman has designed some ancestral houses depicting their lineage. They explained their paintings and why they have joined the project.
We apologize for the mistake. We will bring you the full story at 7 p.m. Congratulations to Ghanaian musician Stonebwoy, who marks his debut on the Billboard US Afrobeat Song Chart with his latest achievement. The track titled Life and Money, featuring Stormzy, entered the chart at an impressive position of 47. Notably, the artist had also recently unveiled a remix of Life and Money in collaboration with US rapper Raz. This accomplishment follows a few months after Stonebwoy's 17-track album, Fifth Dimension, secured the 8th spot on the Billboard World Reggae Album Chart. An entertainment segment of the news.
GBC at 88, the authentic and trusted voice of